Hello, I'm Ollie and this is Criminolly, where I talk about crime, pulp, horror, that kind of thing. Today, my thoughts on Booktok and the Booker Prize. So this video is in response to a few videos I've seen on Booktube recently, all of which I will link to in the description to this video. So the first of those was by Kieran from KD Books, and it's about Booktok. And I have started creating content for Booktok recently for TikTok, creating kind of short form video content. And I found it really, really enjoyable. I've enjoyed it a lot more than I expected to. And it's challenged me a bit as a creator because my kind of normal style for videos is exactly like this. It's me sitting in front of my phone and just talking about books with no time constraints at all. Very little editing, very little creativity really. It's just about, it's just me talking. What TikTok has kind of taught me is that there are many different ways to communicate about books, and the style of videos you see on TikTok is very different. People know when you say Booktok, people know the kind of video to expect, which is often very enthusiastic and very short. And that's the thing I found interesting about creating these kind of shorter videos for TikTok, is that you have to cram as much information as you can into as short a time frame as possible, and also you have to hook the viewer right from the start. You have to do that to an extent with YouTube videos, but I think you have to do it even more with Booktok videos, where the next video is only a swipe away. So I've been thinking about TikTok and Booktok in kind of short form bookish videos anyway, and then saw this video by Kieran and then a kind of response video from Brian at Bookish. So what Kieran says in his video really is about this concept that is kind of floating around, that Booktok is anti-intellectual, that it's kind of people railing against intellectualism. And what Kieran says is that's nonsense. It's not true at all. And apologies if I'm getting this wrong, but this is my take on what he says. So that's not true at all. What TikTok is about is people talking enthusiastically about books they really enjoy. You shouldn't expect intellectualism from TikTok, from Booktok, and you shouldn't expect it from Booktube either. I certainly don't consider myself to be an intellectual, and if you come and watch my videos expecting in-depth, intelligent analysis of the books I've read, you're going to be disappointed. What you get, I hope, from me is someone enthusiastically talking about books they've enjoyed, and sometimes books they haven't enjoyed, but basically talking about something. I'm talking about something I'm passionate about, and I think that is very much the appeal of this kind of user-created content, which dominates social media nowadays. So Booktok videos, things on Instagram, things on Booktube. It's people being enthusiastic and passionate about things they love, about their hobbies, and I think that is something that's really, really appealing. If you want to, if you want in-depth intellectual analysis of these things, there are many other places to get those on, on the radio, on TV, on kind of university lectures and things like that. What you get on Booktube and on Booktok is people who, by watching their videos, you can form a relationship with them. You can get to know where your tastes overlap with them, and you can get recommendations from them. So, what Kieran says is that Booktok isn't about analysis, it's about discovery. It's a way for people to discover new books, and that is why it's so appealing to publishers. That's why publishers have really jumped on the Booktok bandwagon, because it's people recommending book after book after book to other viewers. So it's something that's quite powerful. It's a powerful form of basically free advertising for publishers. So Brian from Bookish then made a response video to that, where he basically agrees with what Kieran says, but adds a couple of other things as well. And one of the other things he adds is the fact that publishers have always jumped on bandwagons. Publishers are always looking for the next thing that makes it easy for them to market books, that makes it easy for them to decide what books they're going to publish. And they, Booktok is just the latest of many, many things that that inspire publishers, that delight publishers, because they perceive that there's an easy audience for their books. I talk a lot on the channel about trashy books, about books that are marketed in such a way that is, it's all about like the cover, and it's publishers trying to hook into something that is popular in the public consciousness at the time. And I think Booktok is the latest variation of trashy books, and I mean trashy in in an admiring way almost. I love trashy books, so it's certainly not meant to be dismissive. So that's one of the things that Brian said that I thought was interesting, and I really encourage you to watch both Brian and Kieran's videos. The other thing he said that was interesting was he perceives that a lot of the snobbishness about BookTube comes from like older guys like me and Brian, basically, who are often, and historically have often been dismissive of things that they perceive as being enjoyed by young women. And that's certainly true of, Booktok. It is perceived as being, all the creators on Booktok, many of the creators on Booktok are young women, and the perception is that all of the creators on Booktok are young women. That's not true at all, and it's also not true that they're all talking about the same 5, romantasy novels, which is, another myth that is perpetuated about Booktok. Brian makes the point that snobbishness comes from a I guess like a deep-seated male insecurity. I completely agree with that as well. So I had a couple of things that I wanted to add to this video. One of which, because I'm sometimes a bit of a tech nerd as well, is just about the technology. And we talk about Booktok, and when you say Booktok, you can picture the kind of video we're talking about, but the popularity of TikTok has meant that kind of video is now available everywhere. So all of the video platforms and photo sharing platforms all now support that kind of short form video as well. So YouTube has YouTube Shorts, Instagram has Reels. So it's not just TikTok, and you will see exactly the same videos. When I create a video for TikTok, I also post it on YouTube and on Instagram. So those kind of videos are just definitely not just on Booktok, and so Booktok in some ways is a misleading term, because what we actually mean is short form video. The other thing that's interesting about TikTok is, whereas YouTube and Instagram are trying to steal TikTok's market by adopting their own form of short form content, TikTok now allows longer form content. I think up to like 10 minutes long, and I've certainly posted some longer videos on TikTok as well. So the line between these different video sharing services is really, really blurred. They are all basically the same, to be honest with you. So that's the first thing I wanted to say. The second thing was, and this was inspired by another video I saw. So I watched a video this morning by a channel called The Honest Book Reviewer, talking about the Booker Prize in a really interesting and knowledgeable way. And it revealed to me a number of things about the Booker Prize that I'd never realised before. So the Booker Prize is, if you like, kind of the opposite of Booktok. So, the Booker Prize is intellectual. It's supposed to be about, the aims of the Booker judges are to promote intelligent, quality, quote unquote, literature to people. One of the things I didn't realise about the Booker Prize was how you can get books onto the Booker longlist. And basically, and the Honest Book Reviewer talks about this in his video, publishers can nominate books to go onto the Booker longlist. But the number of books that you can nominate is driven by the number of books that have been shortlisted from your nominations in the past. So if you have traditionally, if you have a good reputation, if you like, with the Booker Prize judges of having recommended books that they think are worthy of going on the shortlist, you will be able to nominate more books. What that means is that the Booker Prize is basically an echo chamber. Things that have been successful in the past are more likely to continue to be successful. And that is exactly the criticism that is aimed often at Booktok. That it's just an echo chamber, that it's just that people talking about the same kinds of books again and again and again. So I found it interesting that the Booker Prize, which again also is another easy way for publishers to promote their books, but like at the other end of the spectrum from Booktok, that the Booker Prize has things built into it that make it just as likely to recommend the same kinds of books as the TikTok algorithm makes it likely that TikTok will continue to recommend the same kind of books. So I guess what I take away from that as a reader and as a reviewer as well is that the really important thing with choosing how you discover books, and the Booker Prize is just another discovery mechanism, isn't it? You know, people rush out when the Booker long list is published to look through it and look for the books that interest them. And often these are books that they wouldn't have discovered another way. You know, a lot of books get discovered and get talked about purely because they are on the Booker long list. So it's a great tool for publishers to market their books. So what I think is important then for us as readers is to have as broad a range of different ways of discovering books as possible, because all of the different mechanisms are to an extent going to be echo chambers. I mean, you know, my channel is an echo chamber, so I talk about a certain kind of book on the channel. People who like that kind of book watch my channel and recommend to me other books like the books I talk about, which I then read and talk about. So every channel, every service, every prize is in itself a mini echo chamber. So the more widely you can cast your net, the more different options you can have to discover books and to discover a wide variety of books, I think the richer your reading life will be. So there you go, my thoughts on Booktok, Booktube and the Booker Prize. Do let me know what you think in the comments. Do check out those other videos, all of which will be linked in the description. And as always, thank you very much for watching. Hope you're safe and well out there. Hope you're reading good stuff. And I'll speak to you again very soon. Cheerio.